Thank you everyone for tuning in to the episode 4. Fuck ass shit. What are your fucking
not
notes?
So easy now, huh?
Oh, sorry. I can't read schizo. Thank you everyone for tuning in to episode 4 of Weekend Radio. We're here with Worm.
Hi.
I am Rat. And we also have Josh here.
Hello.
And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the actual host of this show. Give his clipboard back. There you go, Worm.
Yeah, well, literally a raccoon, but that's alright. Yeah, we're actually just hijacking this. This is episode 4 of the Alaskan edition of Weekend Radio. I'm going to say a lot. No, I should say a lot. Everyone likes that. I'm making this mainly for Baru. It's so thank you for everyone, for tuning into Weekend Radio. I'm here with Rat. Anyway,
we're really going with this theme, ain't we?
I think we should all just stay silent and let Worm do all the talking, and we just sit here awkwardly.
Oh, okay. I can work that.
I can talk to myself for hours. It's not very.
Yeah, we're not actually here. We're just Worm's imagination.
Yeah, I just assume that as a baseline until anyone proves themselves different than that standard. I realize there hasn't been an episode of Weekend Radio in a very long time, and it wasn't actually brought to trial, and I'm not sure why, and no one was rightfully convicted of their crimes of not making another episode of Weekend Radio, so we the people, unfortunately, are forced to take that burden upon ourselves. We are going to talk about a few things, and you're not going to hear about any of them. I had a whole list of things we were going to talk about. Stock market stuff, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Russian imports, something big was happening with that. Apparently the NFA was going to get repealed, but only if we do a very specific thing and write one person. I'm not going to talk about any of that. Instead, I'm actually just going to interview this one guy, this lurker guy.
Sup?
Who I just learned is also in Alaska like 10 minutes ago, apparently.
Yeah, apparently Josh was... All three of us have been in, I guess, the largest state, so the population density is very low, so no one actually bumped into each other aside from me to both these guys.
I mean, apparently Worm knew Rat and just never told me, or I was just too retarded to notice.
Yeah, I've known him for a bit.
I'm guessing I was just too retarded.
Rat has been lurking on the servers like the little fucking rodent he is. He actually does know a lot about planes, though. And so rather than sit down and actually come up with like a whole list of planes, and be like flashcards, like what is this?
Name every plane.
Cessna 120, Cessna 140, Cessna 150, Cessna 152. I can go on, but...
I don't know what those sounds mean, but someone who listens to this might. Anyways, rather than do any of that, what I instead went ahead and did is I just went on to ChatGPT and I asked it, I am doing an interview for a plane enthusiast. What are some good questions I can ask him? I'm just going to ask you these at any random order. How did your interest in airplanes begin? And what sparked your enthusiasm for aviation?
Funny story that I actually have a whole bit about this. I was... I must have been 19. I was working shitty part-time work up here in a warehouse and driving a friend home who was still in high school, and I rear-ended someone. At which point I had to fix my car, and I thought, oh damn, this is pretty nice, working with my hands and all that stuff. What jobs are there up here that working with my hands? Aviation? Yeah, that sounds like a good one. Turns out I had forgotten for 10 years or so that I actually really like planes. Used to build models of them when I was a kid and all that. But went to maintenance school and been working in the field since.
Right on. So you have your postdoc in airplanes, right?
My what?
Okay, yeah.
Well, like why airplanes? Like why not something more like traditional,
trains.
like I was going to say cars, but also trains. That makes sense.
That Alaska is specifically suited for airplane autists. So
that is true.
I mean, not to dox the location, but we are about quarter mile from an airport as we do this right now.
That is true.
I can look out the window sometimes, see planes taking off, and usually name them. Used to work there. So Alaska, planes, kind of a big thing. Rail, not so much. Automotive, there's a lot of it, but planes, I just sort of went with what I saw, and here I am.
Yeah, it does make sense because I think we have the most bush pilots per capita in the whole country.
Yeah, right. You mentioned something. Yeah, actually, Josh, have you ever built model planes as a kid?
Do Legos count?
Bagels?
Legos?
No, probably not. Just so you know, that's not a normal thing. Kids just building planes as a kid. This actually goes to a thesis I've been working on, that autists are just born with their passion. They don't actually get to choose it later.
I started with battleships, but, that sort of morphed over time.
Equally based,
I think it's easier to work on planes than battleships.
What aspects of aviation do you find most fascinating, such as technology, history, or the flying experience itself?
Oh boy, that's sure a question that ChatGPT asked me.
Hey, I asked that. I'm wearing. Look at me. Hey, look at me. Look me in the fucking eyes when I talk to you.
They're hard to miss your eyes.
What's fascinating about aviation? So it's kind of a weird field because everything is really old. Technology lags behind what you see in other fields by 20 to 30 years minimum. So I've worked on a lot of planes that had radios in them that were put in there at the very start of transistors being a thing and were kept in service because it's fucking good enough. And that attitude really pervades throughout all of aviation up here. It's good enough. It's good enough for who it's for. We don't need to fix that. There's a bit of wiggle room with stuff, and there's judgment calls and all that. This is a terrible answer. I really don't know where I'm going with it. So
it's fine.
I'm learning a lot. It's not fine. You should have prepared for these random questions I pulled from ChatGPT. You could have looked them up at any time by asking ChatGPT.
What if you asked ChatGPT to answer the questions for you?
You cannot.
Well, then I'd actually have a bachelor's.
This is a closed book test. No notes.
But you have notes right in front of you. I'm
allowed to have notes.
Shit.
It was written in the contract you guys signed. You guys signed the contract, right?
Contract? I don't know.
You'll sign it later. We'll backdate it.
Just like signing off logbook entries.
So I actually did get this new cheap watch, and the really cool thing about this is it has a stopwatch function. So I'm just going to ask you, you have to list me off your 5 favorite plane facts, aviation facts, airfield type facts, and you have to do this in 2 minutes. Go.
Oh, gee, favorite aviation facts. That's a horrible fucking question. Whoever wrote these should be dragged out and shot. The Cessna 185, great airplane and all of that, and managed to make it a whole, 70 years before they realized that, you can just develop cracks in the tail that make it just fall off. Real fucking cool. But, they're badass planes. You sort of run into that stuff with aviation, just, 40, 50, 60 years down the line, people run into stuff and go, oh, hey, this was a problem for a long time. Turns out that's why these things were falling out of the fucking sky. And,
50 seconds.
That's only one fact.
That's only one. Cessnas fall apart, but they're pretty cool.
That's just universal across airplanes.
I'll give you 2, maybe, to be generous, but you have 1 minute left. Go.
All right.
3 more facts.
Fun fact, the Piper Light aircraft landing gear, to actually deploy the landing gear from gear up, it's all gravity powered. The hydraulic pump doesn't actually need to be running. Aviation fact number 3, the primary alloy used in aircraft structure is 2024 T3 aluminum. Fact number 4, we use 304 stainless steel. Fact number 5, we use rivets primarily for construction, but not the normal type you're probably used to in automotive. We use ones where you have to hit them with a hammer a bunch. And the primary types we use are MS-20470AD and MS-20426AD. Fuck you.
All right. 1 minute, 57 seconds. Probably add an extra second onto there because...
I think we should give him a bonus because that last answer was super autistic.
That was very...
I don't even know what he said.
It's just...
Maybe it's correct. Maybe it's just entirely...
He could have just made it up, but I believe him.
The confidence of what you said it and the other things you said around it were very convincing.
Hey man, you worked sheet metal specialty for 3 years. You see what you come up with.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that.
I don't know, man. I tried to get you hired a couple times.
Yeah, as a fucking part stalker. Which,
well, I tried to get you to apply.
I actually did apply, and then I gave up through the application because I was on page fucking 5 of the application, and it just was talking about random shit that I just didn't really know. And I'm like, maybe this actually isn't a field I should get into because I have no passion or any drive to do this, and I'd probably be better at a Burger King.
Burger King's a really shitty place to work, from what I've heard.
All right, what's your favorite anime?
Oh, gee.
I know the answer.
Well, fuck you for one.
All right, you caught me. I was trying to trap you. If you guessed,
no.
If you guessed any anime correct, they would have called you a weeb.
I'm just trying. There's multitudes of answers going through my head right now. I'm just trying to sort through it.
Fuck. Let him cook them. Nail your own coffin, fucker. All right.
Yeah, let me earn this role. I mean, if I had to give one,
just so you know, there are a list of animes that are some people consider animes, but are not actually animes.
Yeah, I know.
After your answer,
you've watched some of them from what I hear, but
I've not watched any animes. I've only watched things that appear to be animes, but are not actually, such as, i.e., Cowboy Bebop, for instance.
Hip Shot.
How's that not an anime?
I'm gonna stop thinking about it. I'm just gonna say Berserk. Berserk's pretty great.
Okay,
all right, that's a fair answer, I think.
Yeah,
it's some weeb. It's on the borderline, but it's not. I don't know.
It's not weeb shit. That's what's.
Yeah.
I think that's what's critical.
I mean, yes, I've watched it, but I also own the books, so
I think that's worse, actually.
Well, good for you.
Owning physical copies of anime paraphernalia. I don't know how I feel about that.
Actually, you know what? I'll go Ghost in the Shell. Really gonna work for that weeb smelly do not interact with role.
I don't know. I've never seen it or read it, but I've heard some base things. I'm not going to talk about that anymore, though. But I really am curious about, though. Provided the military comes to you, they're like, hey, we need a box moved from this airport, which is, we'll call it walking distance from where you live, and we need this box that weighs a nondescript amount, but under 1 ton, call it 500 pounds. We need this moved. We need it dropped somewhere 100 miles away. We are willing to give you any plane you want for it, and you get to keep it afterwards. What plane do you want?
What's the rough size of this box?
We'll call it a cubic yard.
Cubic yard?
3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet.
Oh, goodness.
36 inches by 36 inches by 36 inches.
Boy, howdy, if I...
But it's on a pallet, so you gotta take into account the pallet.
Pallet, too, and also forklift clearance as well.
Boy, howdy, we're going to
clearance.
take it off that pallet to get some extra clearance.
They want the pallet at the destination.
We can throw the pallet out afterwards.
If they give it to you on a pallet and you bring it to them without the pallet, they might be like, where the fuck is the pallet? Like, that might come up.
All right, so I'm going to go through this in tiers of what I think might fit a cubic yard. Cessna 185, you might be able to jimmy that through the door of it. Maybe. You just fly out there without one of the doors on it. Drop it by having the pilot sort of kick it out. That'd be real tight on clearances, though. More likely, what you're going to be looking at is at least a Cessna 206, 207. Those are pretty awesome. Going up from that, you can get a de Havilland Beaver. Those things are kick-ass. I mean, no problem with... just going to interrupt me like that, okay.
I want a fucking beer. Continue.
No problem attaching a load for that thing, I mean, it's literally got in the pilot's handbook provisions for flight characteristics with a canoe strapped to it on the outside. So that's a pretty good possibility there. And if things just go completely tits up, well, you might be able to get a Cessna 208 with it. They've got a pretty big back door, but bar none, Casa 212, a big ramp door at the back, just push that fucker out. You can drive a car in those things.
Oh, I've seen one of those at the airport before. Those are some ugly motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah.
They look like a plane a 5-year-old would draw.
CIA rendition of a airplane, seeing it for the first time and then never seeing it again, having to drop when you get back home. If you ever seen the AK drawings, anyway.
Yeah, a lot of
conspiracy theory. Go.
Oh goodness. MK Ultra is just so much fun to consider the possibilities with. It really bleeds into a lot of things. This is your activation code, 28 Delta. Aside from that, though, I'm really a big fan of the idea that JFK was killed by the Secret Service in a fluke accident.
I actually do have a contrarian opinion on this. I don't know if you'll agree. I don't think he was actually shot at all. I think his head might have just done that.
It's plausible.
I don't think anyone shot him. I think they might have killed an innocent man once he got into police custody, who was falsely accused, by the way, because JFK's head just decided to explode at the time. I think there's a lot of evidence for this, such as, i.e.,
well, for one, his head exploded.
His head exploded.
Yeah, everyone saw it.
We know the head exploded. We didn't find one of the bullets, so some guy could have just been shooting at the time.
Yeah, man, he was just plinking.
Yep, plinking from whoever knows where. I mean, fucking, Carcano.
I mean,
that was a cheap rifle. A lot of people could have had them from fucking however far away.
I mean, it's downtown Dallas.
Yeah.
It's Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just plinking in downtown Dallas, your round goes a little off target, and sure enough, it lands somewhat in the vicinity of a presidential parade.
I mean,
and
hey,
the president decides to explode his fucking head at that point. We have spontaneous combustions. We can't explain that yet, for the most part, aside from every time that someone is found to spontaneously combust, they're typically smoking a cigarette or in flammable conditions, etc., and adipose tissue.
That's just a coincidence.
That's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
What I'm saying
don't
is
cause
that
fire.
we do have things that burn on people at random, completely disintegrates them, and we do know things explode sometimes. I mean, Gibbs free energy only goes so far, so I'm thinking JFK's head probably just did that.
Yeah, I mean, I've patched bullet holes in planes that have lived in the city their whole lives. Just, hey, how'd a bullet end up here? I don't fucking know. I'm
Maybe
just saying
just
it's possible.
It's more than possible, I think. I think it's the most likely explanation. Josh.
Yes.
Favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh, man. I should have been thinking of that the whole time. I was just thinking about how JFK's head probably did that.
I think it just not probably. I think it just did. It's a fact at this point.
I think the one that I've been thinking about a lot recently, because I recently read David Thibodeau's book, who was one of the few survivors of the Waco siege who wasn't convicted of anything. And I think Oklahoma City was an inside job to distract everyone from what happened at Waco and Ruby Ridge.
The Oklahoma City bombing?
Yeah.
Wasn't that just a truck full of fertilizer in the middle of fucking...
Yeah, but they found there was that same brand of truck was at some CIA facility or something. All I know about it is from a meme I saw on the Discord, so I'm just taking it as fact. I mean, it really is coincidental.
I see it as a meme.
Absolutely.
I do remember some factoid about it that he conveniently managed to somehow pat things in a way that just made it into a more powerful explosive, based on how it was shaped.
Oh, and there's also
just conveniently,
when it was happening, there were immediate reports of a second bomb or multiple explosions, and there was also reports of a second driver or a second person with McVeigh, but they completely dropped that after a while.
My favorite thing about McVeigh is that his manifesto, or or his newsletters, I guess, he just drew comparisons or similes or whatever the hell to Star Wars.
I missed that.
Yeah, no, in his shit, he's hey, these guys are the Empire and we're the rebels, and it was like this whole fucking this whole thing. I just think it's really nerdy, and I think it's really.
That
funny.
sounds like some shit some Redditor would say nowadays.
I'm really good. Really glad you bring that up though, because the new challenge that we're actually releasing on Weekend I Am now, as of right now, is the domestic terrorist or domestic hero role. All you have to do is recreate the Oklahoma bombing. I think if we get enough people to do this, we'll just accept it as the norm, and maybe Americans will just be allowed to make explosives and blow them up, specifically in Oklahoma City, and that'll just be okay.
Specifically in front of the federal office buildings.
Yes, specifically in front of federal office buildings, which, by the way, were also poked and prodded at by many civil engineers who were like, hey, this load-bearing pillar is really not good to go, and we need to redesign this building. And everyone was like, no, it's fine, dude. It's we need it for a thing. And then it exploded and did the exact same thing that the civil engineer pointed out. That's all right.
I'm not saying you shouldn't go ahead with this challenge, but yeah, maybe you
I'm
just
gonna go ahead with the challenge.
maybe you shouldn't explicitly state it. You know, a little more dog whistle leaves you a bit less open to investigation.
Yeah, just bomb Oklahoma. Your weekend challenge coins in the mail. So
All right, time to take that job in Bethel.
I would not want to live in Bethel.
So that was our warm-up for today. Because nobody here is comfortable talking online, because we are a bunch of pasty-ass Alaskans who don't talk to people at large. Rather, we spend all of our time on internet forums talking about guns and I guess airplanes for one of us.
Dog, you're the biggest shit talker I know, aside from top five on a weekend.
Muhammad's up there. So,
A lot of people are up there.
the reason I did
You know, I was thinking him. I just wasn't gonna say it.
Muhammad's up there, dude. Muhammad's king. Muhammad's...
Praise be.
praise be.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, mashallah. God wills it. Yeah, so it's Nightcrawler Mark III. Yeah, you're gonna hear from Nightcrawler Mark II and the original Nightcrawler. I get it. Yeah. Whatever the fuck. I don't give a fuck. Hey, just ignore the next two Nightcrawlers. Just skip forward. We'll call it 7 minutes, 8 minutes. That's really all you need. They're gonna say some really important shit. I'm petting Waffles right now. Waffles says hi to you guys, by the way. He's very warm. Yeah, just ignore them. They're really, it's just some incompetent shit, some bullshit. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Nightcrawler Mark III. Don't listen to Nightcrawler Mark II. Don't listen to the one who just calls himself standard Nightcrawler, which is Nightcrawler. I wouldn't worry about it. Just skip forward 8 minutes. Not a huge deal. I really wouldn't worry about it. Nightcrawler. It's Nightcrawler here. So you know, this is Nightcrawler Mark II. Nightcrawler Mark I, which you're gonna hear in a second, is a pussy ass bitch. If you don't like my voice, you don't like my voice. Tune off now, so you don't have to fucking listen to him. You talk some pussy ass bitch shit. It's real, but like, you know, it's some pussy ass bitch shit. So, if you don't like my voice, just fucking fuck off now, because predominantly the rest of the fucking however many the fuck minutes is left is just my voice. So, you know, like, just tune off or the fuck. Yeah, it's Nightcrawler here, guys. So I'm kind of only filming or I guess recording this shit while drunk, and I'm only editing while drunk. Oh fuck! I just pissed all over the toilet. Yeah. So look, I realize some of this shit might be in poor taste, and It's legitimately like I like Chase a lot, man. Like, I mean, dude, it's fucking Chase. We like Chase, and so I didn't have my shit together. I really should have had it together more. It's like his life's work. I take it very seriously. But supposed to have like someone with their masters come on, read all his papers and shit. Didn't really work out like that. That person bailed. So I went ahead and just kind of sped read them all myself. I mean, I skimmed them. I skimmed them pretty good. But honestly, I didn't really do a very good job. In my personal opinion. I mean, like I listened to the whole thing, right? Like I think I got the message down, but just so you guys know, in case this needs to be like obviously stated, because you're gonna fucking if you continue to listen to this, you're gonna hear it. I fucking choke a lot. And it's his research is really it was good. He did like some really solid work. I've seen some doctors who do their shit and it's like really, dude, like don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of work, but like Chase did some really fucking high IQ shit and really that was the message that I tried to do this episode with. The message that I wanted to send home was Chase did some high IQ shit. He had that in him, and he basically never talked about it. Like geology is like my fucking passion. So like I'm into it, but like and if you're into geology and you go up to a non-geologist, you're not gonna, you might be like, oh, I'm a geologist, but dude, he had a fucking PhD, right? Like that's fucking insane. Like that's fucking mental, dude. And he spent his time on a fucking fucking gun subreddit, a fucking gun Discord, like really? He spent his time with us? He's a fucking PhD. He did all this fucking psychotic fucking shit, dude. He was in the fucking army. He did some fucking just poggers, fucking top keck, fucking kino shit, dude. I mean, that's what I was trying to relay, and I don't think I did a good job in this. If you want to listen to my voice for the rest of this episode, you are more than welcome to do that. All you have to do is just not do anything because it'll just keep playing. I'm gonna throw this one in the middle. This is one in the middle here. I'm not gonna listen to this one twice. Whatever I'm saying now is just gonna happen. But I just wanted you guys to know that's. Please don't hate me, man. I was trying to show you how fucking cool Chase was. Cause fuck me, man. Fuck. If you read his shit, dude, like I got it. Honestly, at this point, I've doubled down so far. At this point, I might just have to fucking actually get like someone who knows what the fuck they're doing to fucking come on and really fucking walk through this shit. I mean, like, it's fucking cool. It's fucking cool. And I'm not going to do it justice. I'm not going to explain fucking nearly any of it in this thing. It's been 5 minutes now-ish of me doing this monologue. But TLDR, Chase is really fucking cool. And I really, like, even if I didn't fucking know Chase, the research he did, like, the shit that he contributed, like, to the scientific community is really fucking important to me. I really find it cool. I'm really passionate about it. I really like what he did. It's really fucking cool. And I honestly have no fucking clue why he didn't brag about it more because, I mean, you guys know me. I got a fucking big head on me. I would have fucking bragged about it if I did that shit. Fuck. But Chase was above that cut, man. I like him, man. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the episode. I actually did want to make this because I've come to the realization that not a lot of people know Chase, God rest his soul. Or rather, they don't know that he actually had a PhD, philosophical doctorate, or a doctorate in philosophy, rather. And geology, believe it or not, which happens to be the thing I am in my final year of undergrad for. I have read many geological papers. I'm thinking it's got to be at least 100 plus minus 20 maybe, just on the frequency in which I read these. I did the math earlier, trust me. I mean, yeah, trust me.
I always trust you.
Everyone should trust me, man. The world would be so much simpler. Not easier, but simpler.
Real quick, speaking of trusting you, are we sure this is still recording? The stuzzed out.
yeah, we're good, dude.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
we didn't just waste a bunch of time. Perfect.
Yeah, no.
I've just been talking about that.
I just looked over and saw the screen was black, and I figured, we better make sure of that at least.
Yeah, I've actually lured you guys in the middle of my derelict studio apartment in downtown Anchorage to, in the cold and dark, just to talk to you guys without recording it. I think it would just be really, really funny if we,
You're moving the mic.
didn't
ruined everything.
Oh, God,
moved
now the
mic.
balance is
Start
going to be off.
everything
It's
over
off.
again.
I fucked it all.
Fuck!
I'm gonna touch
It's
the
bumped
mic.
against the live grenade.
Okay, we're good.
It's being propped
Once
up by
again,
a
this
grenade
is,
and 2 tourniquets.
Once again, this is a weekend podcast stuffed edition, episode 4.
Yeah, the other weekend episodes, by the way, were a lot more put together because I think everyone that was on those weekend episodes is very adept at talking to people.
I didn't listen to
again.
most of them.
Wow.
I just found out about them last week.
Wow. Holy shit. Well, fuck. Welcome to episode 4, boys. I actually want to talk about Chase's research. I have a lot of his papers printed out. I actually do have access to a lot of scientific papers that are published. Hell yeah, boys. From basically everywhere. Mainly the magazine that I go to a lot. Magazines, by the way, if you guys don't know, are just like if you make a bunch of research, if you're cool like scientist guy and you're like, man, this is so fucking cool and the world needs to know what I just did, you would do that. You would make a whole little thing and then people would look at it. You would say like, I think this, and then they would come to you and be like, I don't think that works like this. Or they'd be like, that makes sense, but what do you say about this one small thing you had there?
Are you just breaking down the peer review process?
This is the peer review process, yes. What I'm saying is they peer review your paper,
Yeah.
and then after it's peer reviewed, a journal will be like, was it peer reviewed good? Yeah? No? Maybe? Fuck it. Yeah, sure, I'll take them. There are some journals that I've heard of. I've never heard them by name, but I know they're out there.
Waffles,
Probably not
that's
good ones.
my seat.
Yeah, Waffles is
Waffles is
taking
here
Rat's
too.
seat. Waffles has just been hanging out. Waffles, why don't you say something? Yeah, very eloquent. I don't think I could have said it better myself.
Good to hear from you, bud.
Yeah, good to have him on. They'll take your paper. They'll put it in a magazine. The one that I really like is Elsevier. I read it a lot. Never in my entire life have I heard it pronounced out loud. I'm pretty sure it's Elsevier. I'm not saying that correctly. Oh well. It's Elsevier. Elsevier. Most of Chase's papers are posted on Elsevier.
Is that like a specifically geology magazine?
No.
Okay.
It's a main journal. It's just a science journal. So like if you go to them, you could search up like I don't know, Freudian psychology as it relates to the 21st century medicine of I don't know the fuck what. And then be like, oh yeah, here's a bunch of people who posted papers on that exact thing. Or you could be like, you just search the word, I don't know, rat. And then it would just basically send you Rat's like social security number, home address, Facebook profile, which you may or may not have. I don't know if you're on Facebook, but if you do, it'll bring it up.
420, 69, 69, 420.
XXX, yeah.
So what was Chase researching with all these papers?
Yeah, Chase's actual main, as far as I can tell, his only focus as far as his published papers that I could find, I found about 6, including his doctoral defense, his doctoral thesis. They're all related to glaciology, which is really funny because glaciology is actually one of my favorite things. I spent many years in my undergrad actually just staring at a computer screen mapping rock glaciers for hours upon hours upon hours, and then wrote a whole ass fucking major paper on it. It's really cool. Basically, what his stuff is talking about is that the climate is changing and that we can map that change by how glaciers move. That's really, in essence, what like most of his papers boil down to. I have them in front of me and I want to burn through them really quick. Which, by the way, again, I'm an undergrad. I don't even have my fucking normal bachelor's yet, but I almost do, so I'm technically kind of pretty much already a full-time geologist. And then basically, you know, if you don't think about it too hard, I kind of have my doctorates too, so.
You know, you've got the credits and the qualification to at least get an associate's, so that's more than I got.
I probably have an associate's in like some random country somewhere.
Yeah, so I'm curious. Tell me about these papers. Give me a title to go off.
No problem, Drew Hogan. So what we got, my first favorite one, mainly because it's short. I'm kidding. No, a lot of the times someone will find someone's research, and then they'll have their own paper that actually will disagree with several points. And so they'll come up to you in a journal and they'll publicly post a message to you that is like, hey, this motherfucker didn't consider this thing. And then it's up to the other doctor that you're accusing, j'accuse. They'll come up and be like, well, motherfucker, you're actually retarded. And let me put this in real layman's terms. Go fuck yourself.
Do they actually call each other retards?
I wish. Unfortunately, the scientific community has not gotten to that point yet. Give it 30 years. Well, 20 years at this rate.
You know, I bet if you went back to the 18th century, you could find it. But
at the 18th century, I bet shit went off. Maybe not mathematicians, you know, like Gauss and all that, but they probably went off pretty hard. Basically, someone came up to him and was like, hey, you're moraines. Oh. Guys, do you know the anatomy of a glacier?
It's made of ice, right?
Hold on, I gotta...
It's made of ice, right?
Glaciers are typically made of ice.
All
yes,
right.
Except in the places that they're made of snow.
Oh, shit.
I got
was aware of the snow.
I got a post-it note on this definition here for a moraine. Moraine refers to rock debris piled up along the lateral or terminal parts of a glacier or laid down beneath it, as well as to the accumulation of rock debris on its surface, marking the trace of septa or dirty ice.
Yeah, listeners at home, go ahead and point at your speaker, just point at it and just yell the word nerd.
Hey.
Nerd.
Hey, you're the one that made me bookmark that.
Fucking nerd. I handed you a glacier book. Because I have a glacier book because I like glaciers. Yeah, moraine's just a fucking thing where glacier pushes rocks into lines. Sometimes they go down the middle. You'd call it like a fucking, you know, moraine. Sometimes that's the very end. You'd call it a fucking terminal moraine. Moraines are just moraines. He takes those moraines, he looks at them through imaging, he looks at them over time, he understands the climate that's going on, and through some very, very, very advanced math, he then calculates basically what climate conditions cause the moraines to move. So the glacier moves as a response to the climate changing. Is basically that's what a lot of this stuff does. This guy was like, you didn't consider the fact that what did he say? I have it written down here. Discrete landslide evidence. Yeah, the fucking asshole was concerned about landslides interfering with glaciers, which, by the way, fairly valid because moraines can build up because of landslides, but not at all.
So he's hitting the classic peer review tactic of correlation does not equal causation.
Yeah, basically, just because the moraines are increasing does not mean that it was entirely fed by landslides. You fucking retard. It's a single page, great read if you have the time and like scientific papers. Next paper. Oh, that was written in. Yeah. By the way, just so if you guys want to look it up, A reply to Schumeister et al. Comment on glacier advance and stagnation caused by rock avalanches. And that was written in June 2010.
Once again, if you want to point at your speaker and say, nerd, this is the time to do it.
I'm going to cut your face off and wear it as a mask over my face paint, you fucking asshole.
Well, you do have the face of a skeleton on your face right now, so it's appropriate.
I don't know if have you mentioned that my face is painted like a skeleton because I'm going to a thing later.
It is indeed. I can confirm it is painted like a skeleton.
So next paper. What do we got? What do we got?
Modeling dependence of moraine deposition on climate history: the effect on seasonality.
That's certainly a title.
Is that about how glaciers are affected by the seasons?
Basically, yeah. So seasonality is like the average change in what seasons do over the years. So like, all right. This relates to everyone in the room and probably, well, potentially no one else, but potentially, some other people. Seasons change as the climate gets warmer. Maybe our winters are warmer, maybe our summers are a little bit warmer. We do see a seasonal change. So as the years go on, what the seasons are defined as, like, winter's cold, summer's not. We know that because where the positioning of the sun is relative to the equator. We can say, hey, this is for sure winter, this is for sure summer. On the equator, it's just kind of fucking warm the entire time. So it's like kind of whatever, but they can still define when winter and summer are based on where the position of the sun is. And so you can take that and you can go way, way, way back, and there's a whole bunch of major papers that are written that will actually describe where the sun was before, where it is now, a whole bunch of other stuff. A lot of the glacial features that are actually left now today on rocks and such that we can actually find are from the last glacial maximum. For those of you who might not know, the last glacial maximum is like, we've had several like ice ages, quote unquote ice ages.
Right.
Small tangent, actually, my favorite fucking conspiracy theory of all time.
Oh, there we go.
I don't think is a real conspiracy theory. I think it's just a fucking actual thing that happened, is Snowball Earth, which is basically there was enough snow on the Earth that all the white snow just reflected all the heat, and like we just lived on an ice ball for like a really long time, like many years, many centuries, and this apparently happened like 2 to 3 times. Really cool. There's actually a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, well, potentially a significant amount of geological evidence to support that. Anyway, it's a maybe not a cop-out, but an easy way out of explaining a lot of sort of historical geology stuff. Anyway, Chase went ahead in this paper and made the distinction between the last glacial maximum and the effects of the glacier in our time today. Like, maybe not our time today, but the lifetime of this glacier existing as a single glacier rather than a small little snowshoot in a massive fucking field of glaciers that just persists upon infinity. The really cool thing about Chase's papers is that there's a lot of math in them.
Wow, look at all those graphs.
I am not good at math.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe viewers can't see it. You guys should look up the papers. I will not post them to you because that is pirating, and I don't like pirating because it's illegal. So if you ask me for papers that Chase wrote, or any papers, I will not give them to you because I am against piracy.
And yet you encourage people to bomb the Oklahoma City Federal Building.
Oh, that's fair game, brother. That's Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that place exists, really. I mean, I've never really left the state aside from training, and as far as I know, every military base is just on, like, the coast of Alaska and set up to look like a place that isn't Alaska.
So a whole lot of math.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of math.
I see a lot of, like, graphs and pictures.
Yeah, a lot of graphs and pictures. You'll note the large amount of numbers. I'm done with this. You just hold on to this.
Well, can you, like,
It's on the house.
somehow dumb it down and explain, like, how he uses math to, like, explain?
I mean, I can't actually tell you what the equations mean because they are a little bit beyond me. But basically, if you read through his methods, his abstract, and his basically the entire paper, if you read through the entire paper, it boils down to that he's reduced how glaciers behave into mathematical equations. Again, Chase did a bunch of shit that some people might not know. Not saying that as in you should know, because Chase is a really humble guy and he didn't really talk a lot about himself and boast like, oh god, I'm so fucking cool, I have my PhD in geology and I'm a math professor and I was in the army and I did all this fucking cool shit. He's kind of a sleeper age in that regard, but he actually did teach math. And talking to a few people who do have their PhDs, I was like, why the fuck why would he teach math? He has a PhD in geology, and it's actually because he used so much math in his doctorate, in his doctoral thesis, and all of his projects that he was actually at a level that he could proficiently teach math, and that's how he got his job at the college, that is. But yeah, basically his equations boil down to taking a bunch of the seasonal statistics over the years. How do those affect glaciers that we can observe? So say the temperatures, whatever, atmosphere is this, we had this much rainfall, this much snowfall, this is the albedo of the glacier. Albedo is the amount of light that is reflected, typically expressed in a value that's between 0 and 1.
Boy howdy, I heard that as a different word and was concerned for a second.
Oh, not libido, no. Well, unless you get into some really fucking rocky glaciers, but it's besides the point.
So moving on.
He basically found a way to just take glaciers and say like, hey, we can already tell like how our current season and shit is affecting our glaciers and such. We can just reduce that into a mathematical equation, plug the numbers in. Great, it works out like very closely every single time, and now we also know that the climate is changing. Now we can actually map out glaciers as they evolve through the predicted change that we're supposed to occur.
Okay.
Supposed to incur, rather.
Rat is ransacking worm something. Oh, he's getting more drunk.
Rat is rolling on the floor. He opened a beer. He stole a beer from me.
Oh, like I haven't done that 3 times already today.
I haven't drank anything because I still have to drive after this.
Yeah,
yes, and?
He's actually drinking a Monster energy drink at 11:44 p.m.
My heart is beating so fast. But it tastes good, surprisingly.
Pray for him.
I'm going to the bar after this.
Yeah, I'm walking down the street to the bar.
I'm going to sleep.
Based.
Eventually, I hope.
Next paper. Holocene dynamics of the Rhone Glacier, Switzerland, deduced from ice flow models and cosmogenic nuclides. Alright, so glaciers move rocks, right? We know this.
Yep.
There's moraines.
Yeah.
Moraines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moraines move rocks. You could take those rocks, and then you could do some really cool science shit to them, and then you could say like, hey, how long has this been exposed in the sun? And you can do this because as the sun beats off upon rocks, it actually fucking messes with their sort of isotope type shit. And you can actually record the amount of cosmogenic radiation, which is the amount of radiation that is incurred from the sun upon rocks. And he took a bunch of rocks that were at a glacier. He was like, this has been exposed for this long. And he was able to work on his model a bit more. That's kind of what I got out of this paper. A lot of graphs, a lot of maps.
There's even more graphs in that one.
Oh, I think I saw a map in there even.
Dude, you need to fucking see his fucking doctoral thesis if you want to see some fucking graphs and some fucking equations, dude.
Wow. And a reminder, Worm will not give you these papers if you ask for them, because that would be piracy.
Under no circumstances will I make these papers that are behind pointless paywalls, because information should be paid for at all times. I will not give these to you if you ask for them.
Amen, brother.
God, I hate pores. Pores who try to learn. I fucking hate those guys.
So you hate yourself.
Moving on. Glacial advance and stagnation caused by rock avalanches.
I've noticed a theme with all the rock pattern here. There's a lot of rocks involved.
Yeah, rock good. Rock good for geologists.
Rock strong.
Rock strong. Rock together strong, brother.
Rock always win.
Rock always win, except against...
Paper.
Why would paper be rock, dude?
Because you can wrap it around it.
You know why it is?
It's suffocated.
The rock will outlive the paper every
It'll
time.
suffocate
Because
it,
the papers tell you about how the rock behaves.
The paper only wins for like 100 years at absolute best. I mean, soon enough, that rock will persist beyond that paper. And Chase knew that. That's why I studied the stuff.
Yeah, speaking of papers beating rocks, what's this next one say?
Again, glacial advance and stagnation caused by rock avalanches. Rock avalanches are avalanches, but instead of snow, guess what? The rocks.
Isn't that just a landslide?
Landslides typically involve soil.
Okay.
Which is like a smaller sediment. There's more organics involved, depending on your definition of soil, because that's a whole different.
So this is sort of going back to his earlier bits on meringues.
Yeah, a little bit. Yes, yeah. It's all of this stuff is very tied together. Once you get into a very specified feel like Chase did, you don't really like branch out into like, oh, now I'm gonna do glaciers, but like how clowns standing on them like interacts with their fucking behavior.
Right. Typically, when you go into a scientific field, you pick a pretty specific discipline and you try to explain it as far as you can. And
yeah,
be like highly specialized.
Yeah,
very specialized.
Yeah.
Chase specifically was climatology, glaciology.
And rocks are just a great way of learning more about it.
Geology is honestly a fucking huge umbrella term. Like a hydrologist is technically a geologist, but like a normal geologist who's just like, you know, hanging out, doesn't really understand what the fuck a hydrologist is talking about. And a hydrologist generally doesn't understand what the fuck a normal geologist is talking about, but more or less, they're actually still fucking both geologists. This one, glacial advance. If it snows enough, a glacier moves forward. If it doesn't snow enough, then that glacier will not build up enough snow. Brad is doxing me.
Make sure to censor the ears.
Censor my ears, dude. Don't let my ears out.
It's really
If I
important.
figure out what my ears do, are you familiar with Chinese gate mapping?
Dog, I wasn't even gonna put that up, but I mean, I can.
Do not put me on Craigslist again.
I swear, one time.
How else?
One time.
It was about like I'll round down to 2. I'll round down to 2 because that third time was honestly it was pretty tasteful. I was into that, but anyway, glacial advance and stagnation caused by rock avalanches. Rock avalanches occur. It goes on the glacier. Rocks being typically not sheer white unless they're made of stuff like quartz. Waffles is now stealing Rat's chair again.
Oh,
Rat's barely sitting on
again?
the couch anymore.
Yeah, Rat can honestly just stand. That's all right.
buddy, he's been there.
Rocks go into a glacier. They attract heat because they're warm, and then that melts the snow. That builds up the glacier, the ice, if you will, and that should influence how the glacier advances, because the glacier advances because it gains more snow than it loses every winter season, or every year really. So in the winter it builds up a lot of snow. In the summer it loses some snow because it's less cold typically. Almost always rather, except for in some really weird locations. So generally in the summer shit loses, in the winter shit gains, and at the end of the year, if that is a positive of snow accumulating, then the glacier will advance. It will get longer. It's terminal moraine, if you will. The farthest place it can push rocks goes far enough, then the glacier advances. He talks about rock glaciers, or rock avalanches rather. Sorry, I got rock glaciers in the mind. I did some stuff on that. Yeah, he talks about them. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Talks about them with a lot of math.
Yeah, it turns out they do influence them, but not a whole lot. But like they do.
Well,
It doesn't really change the entire model that he entirely set up on his own, because he's an entire fucking Giga Chad who's like, hey, I'm actually just going to describe this thing with some really fucking bizarre mathematics, and just did that.
Well, you got rocks on the top of a glacier. It's going to melt a little bit slower due to fucking shade and all that, but also it's going to melt a bit faster because of heat soaking of the rocks. But if he's already developed a model for how a glacier behaves without taking that into account, and it's relatively accurate, it's still going to be relatively accurate plugging that in.
Yeah, more or less. It's like I wouldn't call it a coefficient, but maybe you might. The amount of rock glaciers or rock avalanches that fuck with the glacier don't really fuck with it to the amount that you're like, oh no, I'm entirely wrong about this thing I said. You would just adjust it a little bit at most, if at all. That's pretty much all I had. I do have his doctoral thesis printed out, but it's about 10 miles away. I don't have it here. But it was basically on the same exact stuff.
Oh,
What Chase did.
there we go.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's another beer.
Of course it is. I probably have another
I
beer.
see 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 beer cans
Well,
within range.
beer, so.
Buddy, I pre-gamed hard.
Good move not driving here, by the way. So.
Yeah, for once in my life.
So. Give this man his keys. So, his doctoral thesis is primarily on just using. It was basically establishing his first thing of, yes, you can model glaciers with these specific parameters with math in these specific simulation events to find out these specific things. That's what his doctoral thesis is. Everything after that was working on fine-tuning that and also finding other parameters that he might add or take away, how much those might influence how glaciers move. That's the most simple I can make this.
I would have thought that would have someone would have hit on that a bit earlier. Was this breaking new ground, so to speak, or was this a refinement upon earlier theories?
I would say it's a refinement. Like, we did know that, for instance, like glaciers advancing in the winter, receding in the summer, and then the overall difference, the change between those two events, influencing, how far the glacier advances or recedes. We already knew that. We, to an extent, had a pretty great idea about glaciers being able to be influenced by climate change. We do know that, glaciers are shrinking. We've mapped their surface area out every year at the same day for a myriad of however many decades. We've done this. We know that. What Chase did is make it so you could describe these specific glaciers with these very specific conditions to work in that very specific way, and he put together a very beautiful mathematical formula to do that. And I think that's really fucking cool, because I can't do that. That shit's fucking crazy.
Can't do that yet.
That includes the number 4, and I can't even count that high, dude.
Yeah, you got that many fingers. You haven't blown off that many yet.
I don't know. I can't count that high.
That's true.
Skill issue.
Indeed. Pretty much done here. I have to go drink at a bar now, and I'm going to drag Rad along with me. Josh, do you have any more patches that are going to be released soon? Let's talk about the real event.
Actually,
here.
I do have some. I have one secret patch in development that only I think one person noticed so far, and I'm working on the tournament. I'm gonna post the next versus thing tomorrow, probably.
Okay, go off.
Well, it's a secret, but in the patches channel thing, you can see where the tournament currently stands. I'm rooting for Diamond Friends. if you couldn't tell. I have a lot of like Pepe designs right now. I just really like making them. I think I really want to make the coat of arms patch because I think that'd be super dope.
Coat of arms would be good. The one that's on the
Yeah,
front or back side of
on
the
the back.
challenge
Did you
coin.
ever get a coin?
Oh, goodness, no.
I think it came in like after the coins.
Oh shit!
I came in right at the tail end of that. Felt wrong to go and grab one just having joined, you know.
No, it's fine.
I think Rat needs a coin. He's been on
I
an
think you
official
do need a coin.
on an official episode of Weekend Radio, and I think he's deserving of a coin if he made it that far.
Well, he needs to buy some patches first. I think.
Well, yeah,
I
you
think
need to
that'd
buy
be
at
fair.
least 2 patches.
At least
to get the
22
coin.
patches.
22.
222 patches.
222. You need to buy 222 patches before you can buy a coin. But you can buy a coin.
Buddy
yeah.
O pal, I got
It won't be awarded to you. You do have to pay for the coin.
I got so many patches I already need to sew on. I'm gonna have to break out the sewing machine at some point and just go to town for a couple hours.
The cool thing I like about Weekend is that's different from like most military things is that you have to be in the right place at the right times, being seen by the right person for the 5 minutes you're not being incompetent to get a challenge coin. Whereas in Weekend, you can just buy it. It's pretty fucking awesome. It's actually great. Before we go, I do want to call out a few people. There is a man named Big Jew. He is 6'4", and
Yep.
he started a weight loss competition at 335 pounds. He is currently 302 pounds.
God damn!
That's pretty
How,
good.
how long has this been going on?
Like a couple months.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3. No, it'd be 1, 2, 3. No, hang on. 1, 2, 3.
You can only count to 4.
6. Well, 6. I
Oh,
was
you're
under
learning.
pressure. I can sometimes count under pressure.
Really,
Six
really
weeks.
putting that bachelor's degree to work.
I haven't entered the
You don't
data
have-
for today, but so far, as of last week, Big Jew has lost 33 pounds, making him the #1 contestant. Oh, hang on.
You got it, buddy. You got it.
We're working with it. No, contestant.
Con-
That's actually solid. Tist, like autism.
Oh, here we go.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Okay.
I-
Go
I-
on.
I actually do have an update for that. When I was out of town working, I got an email notification that the patches for first, second, and third place are in my mailbox right now. So those are ready to go.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And once we have the winners, I think only first place is getting a t-shirt. So once I get the t-shirt size, I'll order that and the stickers and get those sent out to the winners.
We have about 4 or 5 weeks left before
Okay.
winners decided. So fuck them. Second
Perfect.
place, of course, is Mac with a... I haven't entered some data for him. He gave it to me, but I was too flash of the time to enter it. Lost 30 pounds so far from what I've recorded.
God
Zed
damn.
has lost... Zed, by the way, random guy, don't know who he is, just kind of came out of nowhere and started posting really fucking solid memes. Heighting in at 5'11", lost 28 pounds. Pretty cool. Max 6'1", by the way.
In a
Yeah.
6-week period, that's fucking crazy, guys.
Anyway,
Y'all doing good.
As the prize for now, just like sort of a halfway prize. I just want you guys to know that Big Jew's social security number is